Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome in. Happy Labor Day. Happy birthday, Barry McKnight. We are glad to be here on a Monday recapping, what was a great first big start of the college football weekend.
Yep, Joe. Last week we were at Stivers Ford to end the week's worth of programs. We begin on Labor Day with John in a Stivers Ford.
Yeah,
and golly, I know that everybody probably expected what happened last weekend to happen. There's no real news out there. The big news is like big Preston Pump says, I hear Hugh Freeze shot low on the golf course yesterday. I imagine now that the season is underway, there's not going to be a whole lot of talk today on him playing too much golf or he threw his visor down at practice one day or anything. Auburn on Friday got the weekend started off well, beating Baylor 38-24. Jackson Arnold played awfully well. The FSU Alabama game. I watched that before I went and called Troy beating Nichols at home 38-20. And I'll submit to you, it was a huge surprise that Alabama lost that game. They lost that game. They were a double-digit favorite at home, and they lost again. And the two things that I was surprised about, number one, just the nature of the loss, John. I mean, they were losing, and it was like they were cool with it, you know? And number two, it took that long for John to tweet out, what's changed in the last 9 months? Everybody, John, has been waiting to hear your take after the final horn in Tallahassee.
You know, I usually have a legal pad of notes that I write down, whether it's a win or a loss. Barry, I've got a spiral notebook of things that have been written down. So this might take a minute. And it was a great opening weekend. There were a lot of great games out there, but I know everybody wants to focus on Alabama and Florida State. I get it. I mean, heck, Bruce Pearl's focusing on it. I mean, wow. Here's the deal, Barry. You and I have been covering this sport professionally for a long time, over 30 years. We've seen a lot of these ebbs and flows. We've seen a lot of this preseason stuff. Here's what I don't get. Greg McElroy says this team looks fantastic. The only thing that I'm concerned about is the kicking game. Feinbaum falls all right in line with it. Oh, championship caliber program. Oh, yeah, they're going to be there at the end. Josh Pate picks them for their national champions. These guys are on national media. Thousands and thousands of people follow them, think whatever they say is the gospel. What were they seeing? Because I've been saying since last January when they were humiliated in a bowl game against Michigan, what has changed in 9 months? Not a damn thing. This team is still soft. They are not physical. They do not look like they have a clue of what's going on, and they're not disciplined. Barry, I heard over the weekend, this is hard to believe. In every game that Kalen DeBoer has coached at Alabama, they have had more penalties than their opponent in every game. How do you win with that? You don't. And
31.
I've heard that he's standing over there, no emotion, no fire, no energy, no nothing. You wouldn't care if they were winning, but they are not. And I hate to look, it's offensive line, it's defensive line. I can't wait to hear what Bob from Pike Road has to say about it. He's a big O-line guy. But Barry, this is probably going to shock you more than anything. I'm like midway through the third quarter going, is Jalen Milroe still around? Can they put him in the game? Because Ty Simpson cannot throw the football. He looked extremely nervous and confused. And this young man's going to have to change quickly if the quarterback play is going to be any better.
The offensive line is one of the things I had written down. I don't have a legal pad. I've just got a little index card. John's got an entire loose leaf binder over there. Caden Proctor, left tackle.
Oh,
If you want to go by ratings, and John and I always kind of tease about ratings, about QBRs and PFFs and all that. If you look back, out of all of the starting Power 4 offensive tackles in the country who started and played, Caden Proctor was as low rated as any of them. Against a bunch of guys that you hadn't heard of coming up off the edge, he gave up 6 pressures, 2 sacks, a whole bunch of QBH, a whole bunch of quarterback hurries and everything. What was he doing? That guy's projected first-round draft pick. There were a lot of things to spotlight about Alabama that were shocking, that were surprising. They never led in the game. They did.
they did. They went down the field in the opening drive and scored. And everybody's going, "Wow, that was pretty easy."
Oh yeah, there you go. That's right. After
and then
that,
just completely got complacent, like, "Oh, we're badass. Nobody's going to beat us." And it was over from that point.
And don't you think that Twitter was having a time with it? Alabama rushes for 87 yards. That's the lowest amount that they have rushed for in something like 17 years or something like that.
That 87, 55 of it was on the first drive.
Yeah, and that was it. Yeah. Kalen DeBoer. This is from a buddy of ours. Since Alabama beat Georgia on that late run, they lost the big lead and they ended up winning it on the great play by Ryan Williams. Since Alabama beat Georgia to become number 1 in the AP poll last year, Alabama is 5-5 overall. 5-5. 4-5 versus FBS. 1-5 in away games and neutral games. The nation's piling on this. Kalen DeBoer, since he's been the head coach at Alabama, is 5-5 he is 9-5 overall to begin his tenure. He has lost 5 games against teams that he was double-digit favorites against, away from Tuscaloosa, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Michigan, and now Florida State. Saban lost 4 of those games in 139 games. DeBoer's lost 5 in 15 games. There's a lot of those kind of numbers right out. You read CBS Sports, Johnny Manziel says, ain't nobody scared of Alabama anymore.
Well, you mentioned Caden Proctor. The people I was watching
that was
the game.
Shocking.
I can't repeat what they were saying about his performance, whether it was jumping before the snap or getting beat, whatever. I mean, this guy, I've never heard more hype about an offensive line player than this guy, and I've yet to see it. I know he's big. He's projected to be a first rounder, really. Well, there again, what are people seeing? But Barry, the pattern we're seeing here, and very physical, we're tackling Saturday. We were the other team with from the
we're going to have to get John. We're going to have to get John up just a little bit. Here's again, final score on that one, 31-17. Auburn, a 14-point winner at Baylor, and don't think the Auburn people aren't enjoying their win coupled with Alabama's loss. You guys may have the day off today, but when you get back to work tomorrow, it's going to be rough at the house. Let me tell you, Jackson Arnold looked really good. They got some work to do in the defensive backfield and all that, but Auburn gets a win. Now, this week. Both Auburn and Alabama at home. Should not be too difficult. ULM for the Crimson Tide at 6:45 Saturday night, SEC Network. Auburn versus Ball State at 6:30 on ESPNU. This is, I don't know, there's a change. And all respect to Bob from Pike Road, because last week and during the preseason, talking about Crimson Tide on their way to the playoffs and all of that, and now Auburn is what, Farmageddon and all that. This is what we're hearing. And Bob, I kind of consider him to be the voice of the fan. He says DeBoer ain't the guy. He just ain't. I hope he would be the guy, but he is just not the guy. I know for a fact he can't take Alabama to where we want to go, plain and simple. What must be done eventually should be done immediately. Bama, let's not repeat the mistakes of 40 years ago. In 1984, when Perkins had a losing season, Bama failed to act, and it took 25 years to get back. Why wait? DeBoer must be fired immediately. One more. Bama is horrendous on both sides of the ball at the line of scrimmage. It was an embarrassing effort. If Caden Proctor is a first-round pick, I'm a Russian astronaut. Okay, one more. Rip the Band-Aid off. Please don't repeat the lasting mistakes we made 40 years ago in 1984 when we failed to fire Perkins. Burn, be a leader, and make a decisive decision to rid us of the hapless DeBoer. That's kind of the tone from a lot of people. Do it now. Do it immediately. And do what? Is there that guy? Is there a Nick Saban out there for you to save things, get it back on track? I was shocked. I was, and it's not something that we haven't seen before under him. Again, Vanderbilt, that was an embarrassment. Oklahoma wasn't any good last year, and Alabama couldn't handle him. This year, the bloom is off the rose. I get that. Ryan Grubb is back, and everything will be better. This is what Alabama needed. Y'all watch. And who knows? They may get better. They certainly hard to get much worse. But what's the betting odds there? Will it happen? This has been now more than just a coincidence. This has been a demonstrated trend. So what is missing? What's happening? What's the root cause? What are the foundational reasons for all this happening? If it is something more than just somebody got up for Alabama, Malzahn's always giving Alabama trouble. There's so many frustrating things for Bama fans, and I get it. Tommy Castellanos, the quarterback, he had been talking that smack all summer long. You ain't got Nick Saban to save you anymore. We're gonna handle Alabama, and you guys hated it and promised him that he'll have his. But he got over on you. I mean, he 152 yards passing, 78 yards rushing, ran that offense. He was right, as it turned out. Well, we'll take a break. We got a lot going on the program today. A little bit later on, we'll hear from our buddy Tom Luganbill from ESPN. We'll get a word or two from him. And what was a great weekend. I know we're going to focus, as John said, on what is going on around the country as well. There were some great games. There's still great games tonight. But, man, there were some prizes led off in Tallahassee for sure. Yep. We'll get John in just a moment. Yep, let's take a break. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
It's the kickoff savings sales event going on now at Stivers Ford in Montgomery. New 2025 F-150s up to $16K off MSRP or 3.9% APR for 60 months. New 2025 F-150 STX 4x4s, sign and drive lease for just $499 a month. New 2025 Explorers, sign and drive lease, 0 down, $399 a month for 36 months. New 2025 Expeditions, up to $9K off MSRP. Bronco Sports, as low as $23,999, 0 down and no payment for 90 days. And new 2025 Escapes, starting at just $19,999. Score big at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, 4000 Eastern Boulevard, and at stiversonline.com. Stivers Ford, where Price sells cars, trucks, and SUVs.
Summer's here, and so too are its many challenges. Heat that won't quit, beers that won't fit, hammocks that won't hammock, screen doors that appear out of nowhere, flips that flop a little too much. That's why it's important to keep it simple. Keep it cool, keep them coming, and keep it easy. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light.
Extra, extra. The referral perks just doubled at Dixie. Now through November 30th, get $50 for you and $50 off for your friend when you refer them to Dixie. That's a $100 value. Current Dixie customers get 10% off any repair just for being loyal. Dixie Cares Plan members get an unbeatable 20% off. Plus, you can finance anything over $250. Double the rewards, double the savings.
Okay, back at it here. Sorry for the little interruption there here on this Monday. You mentioned Barry Tom Luganbill is going to join us at the bottom of this hour. Looking forward to seeing what Lugs has to say about the college football weekend. And as I mentioned, obviously Alabama and their loss to Florida State. Auburn, we certainly have not gotten into them into any great detail. I got to say, very impressed with Jackson Arnold. Man, his running ability, phenomenal. Really saw him against Alabama and Norman last year, but man, against Baylor, that was impressive.
He again, there's some things to work on. Auburn wasn't perfect. I thought the secondary wasn't great, and they need to tackle a good bit better. But Jackson Arnold runs for 137, threw enough, 108 yards for them. Defense was pretty stout. They got after Sawyer Robertson, sacked him 4 times. It was impressive. On the road, they ran it for 300 yards on the road against a Big 12 opponent. Not bad. It looks as though Jackson Arnold, at least, he will benefit from Hugh Freeze. We talked with our guys from Oklahoma earlier, and they thought maybe Jackson Arnold was kind of miscast in that offense that Oklahoma was running. It seems as though the offense for Freeze, at least what he did there, I thought the color analyst, Robert Griffin III, did a really good job of explaining what they're looking at. If it's elementary stuff that, if the linebacker plays off, you give it to the running back on the RPO. If the linebacker plays up or in the gap, then, Jackson Arnold will, be able to keep it and all that. So I think it was elementary stuff. They didn't need to throw it very much when you're running for 300. All in all, it was a very strong showing for Auburn to begin with. Now, you and I talked about this. They got a little bit of time before they're challenged again. They got Ball State in at Jordan-Hare this weekend, but they show some signs, John, some positive signs.
No doubt. Yeah, they'll be able to clean a few things up. The tackling, I've heard a lot about that over the weekend. Is it because maybe preseason camp isn't as physical around the country as maybe it used to be? There's not as much tackling. It's kind of wrap them up. It's thud drills. It's not taking them to the ground. I've heard a lot about that. I just didn't really think about it much, but I saw some bad tackling all around the country over the weekend.
Yeah, it's become an epidemic. People just don't tackle very much, and it's odd in a sad way that maybe the best tackler I ever saw in my life, Leroy Jordan, passed away over the weekend. When Leroy got to you, you were going down. There was no breaking a Leroy Jordan tackle, and there's a lot of that nowadays, unfortunately, all the way around. One of the questions CBSSports.com came up with: who will rebound quicker, Texas or Alabama? Arch Manning had a tough day for the Longhorns. Big defensive battle. I'm telling you, Texas's defense, Ohio State's defense, that's what a defense is supposed to look like, Kane Womack. That's what a defense is but both of them. Arch Manning had a difficult time. Texas loses in a low-scoring affair. Who rebounds better in the
red
SEC?
zone?
Yeah,
as much as Texas did, not being able to capitalize you got to take care of business there. I didn't. I'll answer it this way, Barry. I didn't see as many bad things out of Texas as I did out of Alabama.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I didn't see as many problematic things out of Texas, and let's just face it, Ohio State is loads better than Florida State. The quality of the opposition was a lot better, I think. Florida State will be good. They won't be great this year, but they'll be good. They'll be a lot better, but I'm not sure that they will look against a quality opponent as good as they looked Saturday afternoon.
Barry, how long did it take you to have this thought? Man, this guy looks like Nick Marshall, and Gus Malzahn is dialing him up just like he did Nick Marshall back in the day at Auburn.
Yeah.
Misdirection, stuff going everywhere, people moving. That pass where they had I think it was a tight end came across behind the line of scrimmage and was wide open in the flat out there. That was vintage Gus Malzahn.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. And I didn't have that thought any more quickly than I had the thought. Look, Alabama's had defensive coordinators, Kirby Smart and Pete Golding and Kane Womack. Now, is it part of the history and tradition that Alabama struggles against running quarterbacks? Can nobody figure it out, or is it just when you put on the script A hat, all of a sudden you just can't figure it out? Because Gus Malzahn, as much as anybody in the country, has just worn Alabama out. Just doing the same stuff. What he did with Castellanos against Alabama is what Gus did with Nick Marshall 11 years ago against Alabama. It's nothing. There's no tweaks. There's no stuff, that has evolved or anything. It's the same stuff, John, and they cannot deal with it.
And Barry, as I'm watching the game, and I know we're kind of hopping around all over the place, but I think throughout the show today we're gonna eventually come back to Alabama a lot because there's things that crop up.
Yeah.
What's up with Ryan Grubbs? That offense looks so vanilla, so uncreative. I saw nothing new, no new wrinkle, nothing to try to catch Florida State off base, get them on their heels. It was just the same old methodical offensive game plan. And maybe Grubbs is thinking, well, I ain't got an offensive line. My quarterback running around scared. I really can't do a lot. But to me, Alabama's offensive creativity was zero.
Somebody needed to step up. They targeted Ryan Williams, and everybody keeps talking about Jeremiah Smith for Ohio State, Ryan Williams for Alabama, the cream of the crop at that position in the country. They targeted him 11 times. They were successful in their targets 6. 5. They were unsuccessful 6. He needed to make a play, never did. Who in the world is Kevin Riley? He was Alabama's leading rusher. I know who Bob Riley is. I know who Bob O'Reilly is. That running game, Riley with 31 yards, Richard Young with 26, Daniel Hill, 3 rushes. I don't get it. Nobody had double-digit carries. Nobody had a chance to, get a flow or get a vibe. But then again, that offensive line, that nation's best offensive line, that Brailsford and Caden Proctor offensive line, they weren't moving people out very much. I don't get it. I was shocked by the whole thing.
I go back to something I said in the first segment. What were these people seeing in preseason camp? What were they seeing that made them make statements like, oh, this is a national championship team? The only weakness I see is in the kicking game. I mean, they are stacked across both lines of scrimmage. They got impact players all over the field, and Ty Simpson is taking command of this football program. Number one, how can you tell that going up against your own defense? You're not playing anybody different. You're just watching a bunch of guys out there that look good, move well, things of that nature. What makes you think, and how many other teams have you seen practice where you can evaluate what you saw in Tuscaloosa compared to what other teams are going through in preseason camp? And I'm just amazed at these so-called national experts make these claims and people just, buy into it and believe it like it's, the gospel. And there again, I'm thinking, you can't wave a magic wand and tell me things in Tuscaloosa are completely different than what we saw against Michigan in a bowl game, or against Vanderbilt, or against Oklahoma, or against several other teams out there that they happened to eke out a win against, but they weren't overly impressive. I mean, what has changed? And I haven't seen any change. I think people wanted to believe there were going to be change, but and are they going to change it before they get to Athens?
And obviously, it was a miss from some of the experts out there. But the loss is bad enough. But it's the nature of the loss. Those fans, and Bob from Pike Road, who knows ball, is one of them. Those fans who were saying that, what you're talking about, who are all, here we go, playoff, absolutely, college football, Final Four, we got this, the return to ascendancy and all of this. Man, after Saturday, they are done. Bob from Pike Road. We read some of his chat. We were disconnected. John, against Bama's hapless D with Womack and his idiotic alignment and scheme on D, John, you could run for a Hyundai and score a couple of touchdowns. Bama cannot afford to do nothing. DeBoer must be fired immediately. Giving Bob a lot of run here and a couple more here. I'm asking who responds better. He says, Barry, Texas was on the road at the shoe. Bama was inept, played like we couldn't play dead in a cowboy movie, which is one of my favorite Sonny Smith's deal. He says the contract states DeBoer is paid $10 million a year for the life of his contract. Bama can afford $10 million a year. What Bama can afford is to sit back and do nothing. The elite talent will be gone. Those fans who were saying, like you and I had heard in the preseason, the return to excellence and all that kind of stuff, John, those fans are out. They want him gone, and they want him gone.
Yeah, isn't it amazing, Barry? You lose one game, and I've said this multiple times, season's over. Now, there again, it's a little early. You still got ways to come back and put yourself in a position. But from what we saw Saturday, I don't think a lot of people believe they can get themselves in the position to do that. And in terms of talking about getting rid of DeBoer, $70 million, I think it's way too early for that right now. I know there's a lot of people writing about it and talking about it. But I just don't think you can have that mindset this early on. I mean, it doesn't look good. I'll be the first to tell you. But to me, that's a knee-jerk reaction to be thinking about that right now. Now, if we're at this point midway through the season and things looked as bad as they did in Tallahassee, okay, I think that's a viable discussion to have. I think right now it's a little early.
Yep. Let's take a break. When we come back, Tom Luganbill checks in from ESPN as we roll on our Labor Day Monday show. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
On the basketball court, the soccer pitch, or even the golf course, your crew brings their best not just for the win, but for that post-game celebration. When victory tastes like Michelob Ultra, it's worth every drop of sweat. And if you don't win, you'll still get the beer. It's just on you. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Superior Light Beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information. Okay, welcome back in on this Labor Day Monday edition of Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Our man Tom Luganbill, ESPN college football analyst, joining us here as he does each and every Monday, presented by our friends at River Bank and Trust, with locations throughout the River region for all of your personal and business banking needs. It's River Bank and Trust. Hey, Lugs, good morning. Thanks for joining us. And got to let you know, it's Barry's birthday today. Big happy birthday from my man Barry.
Oh, happy birthday, Barry. And I love celebrating work by working.
That's exactly right. And
That's what we do. I had to text you guys. I was like, are we on Monday? Because I have so many things like slated on like the half hour.
Yeah.
And like half of you got back, said, oh, yeah, we're going. The other half said, can we reschedule?
Well, I got to tell you, you jump in here right now, and it's like the end of the parade scene in Animal House, you know, where Chip Diller saying all is well. It's a little crazy right now, Tom, after Alabama loses in the fashion they did against Florida State. To what do you lay that defeat at the feet of?
A team that wasn't prepared, that didn't respect their opponent, that felt like they could put their pants on and just go out there and beat them because they were Alabama, and Florida State went 2-10 last year. I mean, it was an uninspired effort. I thought there was a lack of effort, which is really concerning to me. There was a lack of discipline, a lack of emotion. And I understand Florida State's playing at home. Everybody there was showing up into the stadium to figure out, what is Florida State? Who are these guys this year? Mm-hmm. What are we going to see off of 2-10? And that team came out highly motivated with a nasty taste in their mouth for an entire offseason of everybody telling them they ain't worth a darn, right? So to me, I was very disappointed. Now, listen, I saw some good things from Ty Simpson. I think there's some nice things that they can build upon. But to have that caliber of defense in terms of the personnel that was returning off of last year's team come out and execute so poorly was really, really surprising to me.
Lugs, I know you've heard it. Soft, not physical, undisciplined. I heard a stat yesterday that it really surprised me. In every game Kalen DeBoer has coached at Alabama, his team has had more penalties than the opponent. Mm-hmm. That's not a good trend at all.
It's alarming because it reflects an attention to detail, right? It reflects a lack of really honing in on the little things that turn into big results, positively or negatively, right? And so, and listen, I'm one of those guys, fellas, that watches the first week of college football, and I absolutely refuse to make blanket definitive statements on what a team is going to be after one game. You know, this is a sport where you don't have a 5-week training camp. You don't have 4 preseason games. You line up, the lights come on, it's real and it counts. I'm not making excuses for Alabama. I'm not making excuses for Clemson. I'm not making excuses for Texas. But in fairness to everybody that played on Saturday, let's see how some games and some weeks unfold. There's a lot of work to be done. I'm sure you guys have all heard the phrase, and most coaches subscribe to it. And we're going to see our greatest improvement from week 1 to week 2. Because we now have a sample size on film. We've played for real. We've seen how kids respond in real situations. So I always try to take a step back and have a little bit of perspective off of week 1. if Alabama had gone down and played and gotten to a matchup like we saw, let's just say last night with Notre Dame and Miami,
Yeah.
that's a bit of a different conversation. But because it was so glaringly poor in some real critical areas, it resonates, right? It gets over magnified.
Well, here's why it resonates so much with Alabama fans is because of the trend aspect of it. Laid an egg against Vanderbilt on the road, against Oklahoma on the road, Michigan in the bowl game, and now this. The trend is troubling, not just the game itself, but there are Bama fans who are saying, "Yep, see, it happened again." Yeah. They're wondering whether or not this is what just basically Kalen DeBoer is at Alabama, and if you can expect more of the same.
Well, I think, and I went back to when Kalen DeBoer was hired, and you sit there and you say, who wants that job, right? At that point, somebody's got to take it, right? And you go out and you identify, okay, who has been a great elite level coach throughout the course of their career? You can make an argument that Kalen DeBoer at that time of the available guys is at the top of the list.
No doubt.
Let's be fair, right? But there's such downside to taking the job. It's like replacing Bobby Knight, right? It's, Jimbo didn't have the struggles that, some have when you replace a legend in Bobby Bowden. But things weren't with Bobby Bowden at Florida State the way they were with Nick Saban at Alabama at the end. So two different scenarios there. But yeah, is it concerning? Absolutely it is. The level of criticism, the downside is so extreme at that place. And I get it, because what happens, guys, you get fatigue from a fan base. You get an expectation. You go on cruise control. You start to believe it's going to be easy all the time. And the moment there's a slight little hint of a crack in the foundation, the entire sky is falling. Like the whole thing is coming crumbling down. Is that fair? Probably not. Is that reality because of how people have been conditioned? Absolutely it is.
Tom, your thoughts about the play of Ty Simpson?
Thought for a first-year outing for a bit of an older kid, he handled himself pretty well. I didn't think the people around him helped him very much. I really didn't. I didn't think that they were able to run the football the way that you should. And guys, let's forget about Ty Simpson. Who was wearing number 74 for Alabama in the offensive
we made
line? That was not Caden Proctor. And if it was Caden Proctor, what is going on with his development? I'm sitting there in the studio on Saturday up in Bristol, and me and Mark Rick are watching this game, and he's not paying attention to who it is. He's just watching it. Like, you're looking at his notes, and he's looking up at the screen. And is that the same guy on the turnstile? Yeah, coach, the same guy. Is that the same guy on the turnstile? Yeah, coach, the same guy. Who is that guy? I said, you're not going to believe it. That's Caden Proctor. So I didn't think there was the help around the quarterback that you needed to have to give him the best chance. I thought he had to do too much on his own. And sometimes when that happens, you go over the line and you try to do so much on your own that you screw everything up. And I thought he walked that line pretty well and managed his frustrations and his emotions pretty good. But it was the offensive front for Alabama that was more disappointing than Ty Simpson ever could have been.
I think that's a great point. And you know what, here in our state, the Alabama loss resonated, particularly when you contrast it against Auburn's win at Baylor on Friday. The Auburn fans, I'm pretty sure that they wish today wasn't a day off because they could strut into work today, one of the few times, and actually lord it over the Bama fans in the office. Tom, what'd you make out of the performance in Waco?
Well, let's not forget, the Auburn fans are celebrating two victories.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Auburn's victory and the arrival of Gus Malzahn at Florida State University, right? And that was a masterclass, not to go back to that game, but
yeah,
what Florida State did was fantastic offensively. I had a guy text me about halfway through the Auburn game, and he goes, Jackson Arnold is a one read and run guy. And I responded, well, keep doing it because he's averaging about 20 yards a carry. Who cares, right? Like, come on, man. Like, take what the defense gives you. The way that Baylor was playing, They were not gap sound from the B gap to the B gap, and that front door kept opening up. And a lot of people don't realize when you're teaching part of a quarterback progression read might be 1, 2, 3, run. Like if that front door opens, that's part of your progression. Take what the defense gives you, get positive yards, avoid negative yards. And that's what I thought Auburn did a great job of. Listen, we talked about it last week. It's a sneaky, difficult place to play against a pretty good football team. And I thought Auburn was better prepared, executed better, just looked like the cleaner football team in week 1.
And, I always say this, when somebody says that about, well, Jackson Arnold's a one-read guy. Well, in that game particularly, we'll see a little bit more later on. But
exactly.
that always drives me crazy. It's like saying, Taylor Swift is slightly pigeon-toed. Have you guys ever noticed, that kind of a thing? Come on, please.
And I would say I wouldn't say the only, because I'm sure the coaching staff has broken it down to every detail, but I'm sure a little concern about the success that Baylor had throwing the football Friday night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen, and that guy's a pretty good passer now. I didn't think they affected the quarterback probably as much as they would have liked to until late. And then all of a sudden they kind of cranked it up a little bit like Miami did in that last series or two last night against Notre Dame. So, again, things to correct, things to get after you. To your point, you chart where things went wrong. Did we have a bust? Were we misaligned? Did we not get home up front? Identifying the issue so that you can go out and correct it and go over it in the film room with your football team. But I go back to what I said earlier about, first week prognostications. And I think every coach in America is trying to do 3 things. Limit pre-snap penalties, don't turn the ball over, and don't have a kicking game snafu. If you can get through that first game and be pretty clean in those 3 areas, you've probably accomplished a goal. And I thought that Auburn was cleaner in those areas than Baylor was.
Well, next week, my Troy Trojans go to Death Valley in Clemson to take on the Clemson Tigers. It's going to be pretty ticked off up there. What do you read out of LSU's victory up there last week?
That Garrett Nussmeier is really, really, really good. That Blake Baker's year 2 defense looks like a Blake Baker coach defense at LSU. Seems like they've really gotten past that transition year. Guys buying in. I thought they played extremely well. 2 things really surprised me. I thought Cade Klubnik was below average at best. He looked like he had regressed. I didn't see the anticipation, the decisiveness that had defined his season a year ago that kind of had put him over the top of saying, okay, he's finally getting it. He looked like the guy that had played 2 years ago. And then secondly, Clemson was so disappointing in stopping the run. With that type of personnel that they've got on defense, a couple of first-rounders in the front, a future first-rounder in Sammy Brown at linebacker, the lack of consistency stopping the run, the lack of gap integrity, the amount of space that LSU had to run the football in was alarming. So they've got to clean those things up. Listen, I think the other thing too, because obviously the criticism of Texas and Arch Manning and this and that, like not every team had to go out and play an opening game versus a top 5 team, right? So these criticisms that we have, and I heard you earlier, John, when you talked about the knee-jerk reactions. It's easy to do that when you're not going out and playing Long Island University, or you're not going out and playing Mercer, or you're not going, these are difficult, hard matchups. And when the teams are so evenly matched talent-wise, it's not always going out and making all the plays. It's avoiding the mistakes. Who makes fewer errors in a game like that often determines the victor.
Well, and I think that's a great point, Lugs. I mean, Arch Manning goes up to the Horseshoe, incredibly hostile environment. I mean, everybody else out there is not playing a game like that. He's catching a lot of criticism after that performance. But I think as we see Arch and this Texas team progress through the remainder of the year, we're going to see a different Texas team and a different Arch Manning.
Yeah, and trust me, it was not all Arch Manning. In fact, for the first time, and I've never said this because I think one of the most masterfully skilled play callers in college football, Steve Sarkisian, it's because of all of the things that he does pre-snap to create the matchup that he wants. I hardly saw any of that. They were so vanilla. They were so based. I don't know if it was because they were on the road and they didn't want to overload Arch Manning, but that didn't seem like a typical Sark coach team. And I thought Matt Patricia defensively outcoached Sark because Sark played it conservatively. I thought Sark did not attack Ohio State. And hopefully they'll get back to that. Because, hey, listen, at the end of the day, we're sitting here talking and criticizing Arch Manning and all this and that. Well, one like Julian saying just went out there and lit the world on fire.
Yeah, he balled
He was
out,
okay.
no question.
He was sufficient, right? He didn't make catastrophic errors, is what you love for a young quarterback. But he also had the home crowd behind him, and he had a defense that was able to stop the run. So he had some advantages there. But it's not like he went out there and went 32 of 44 for 349 and 4 touchdowns. So it'll be interesting to see how Texas regroups. But I got to see Sark get back to being more aggressive. Trust your quarterback. Let him take some lumps. Let him make a couple of errors, but be who you are at the University of Texas.
I'm interested in your take tonight. What do we expect from North Carolina realistically?
So the realistic, honest answer, with very few people want to give, is that nobody knows. Nobody knows. Guys, we're talking about a roster with 70-plus players, brand new players, and not all of them came in the winter. Some of them came in the spring. We don't know. We know Bill Belichick's foundation. We know who his staff is. We know that our expectation is that they will be low penalties, that they'll protect the ball, that they'll control the clock, all of the things that you kind of lend to winning football that have been a staple of Bill Belichick. But here's the one thing. The opponent they are playing is not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe like they did against Colorado 2 years ago. Remember that?
I do.
Remember that?
Yes.
So TCU 2 years ago, they're playing the Colorado team and all this hype and all this and that, and they went in and they're like, Colorado, these guys stunk last year. They were terrible.
Yep.
This is all hype. This is all fluff. And went out and absolutely laid an egg. They weren't prepared. They were not well coached. That's not happening again. There's no way Sonny Dykes is letting that happen again. And they're bringing a football team led by a 3,000-yard passer in Josh Hoover and a lot of returning production off of an 8-win season a year ago. And so I think tonight's game is the most curious game, right? And so we'll see. I want to see how this amalgamation, if you will, of roster configuration comes together in week one. Because as we talked about, when you don't have preseason games and you're not playing live, and it's not a team that you've built for 2 to 3 years with a bunch of friendly faces, what do they all do together? How do they match up? I think that's going to be fascinating to watch.
Well, one of my questions I had, and it got totally blown out of the water, I was going to ask you who was the best-looking dog of the weekend until I saw the background of you. That black lab has retired the trophy behind you.
Hey, Doug. That's Doug the dog.
Yeah, Doug came in for
it.
just a moment. He was singularly disinterested, and he went back, and he said,
So I got this beautiful, cool morning. I got the woods in front of me.
Nice.
Sun's shining down. It's good. It's turning to fall. So I opened my door. My wife's asleep in that room. She's got 2 dogs with her, and Doug's my pal. He's the only one that wants to come out here. Now I call for him, and he's nowhere to be seen. I think Mama got a hold of it.
He's out.
Who has got it better right now than Tom Luganbill?
0 people. 0.
Yeah.
And probably 0 animals. Let's just say 0 everything. I have 0 complaints, boys. Yeah. It's your birthday, Barry.
I love it.
We're working on Labor Day. Let's freaking go.
There you go. Tom.
Hey, and Luke, where are we going to see you this week? Where are you going to be on Thursday?
So I'll have my usual ACC network stuff tonight and College Football Live tomorrow. But because it's the opening weekend of the NFL, we traditionally don't do our Thursday night ESPN game. So I was off. And then all of a sudden I get the call that I've gotten many a time here. Hey, look, we're looking at your schedule here. We see you don't have a game. Any interest in doing a game on Saturday? Sure. So I actually have North Carolina at Charlotte this coming Saturday.
Okay.
So Carolina coming off of a short week. It's a home game for me. I don't have to get on a plane. I don't have to go to a hotel. I don't have to rent a car. And with my schedule this fall being 7 days a week, it's a little bit of a It's going to be nice to be home during the week, number one, but really fun to see North Carolina and Coach Belichick in person and be able to just drive up the road, broadcast that game, and then get the Thursday week started next week.
Again, who has it better than Tom Luganbill?
Nope, nobody.
Great to have you with us as always, Luke. Thanks a bunch for all the insight.
Have a great week, guys.
Take care.
You too, buddy. Thank you so much. That's Tom Luganbill, brought to you each and every week exclusively from our friends at River Bank and Trust. For personal commercial banking, they'll handle it all for you. Locations throughout the river regions. Go by and see our friends at River Bank and Trust. You'll be glad you did.
Yep, it's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the River Bank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at River Bank and Trust. Locations throughout the river region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Get some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Play to win big at Victoryland Casino, where the hottest, most exciting games are waiting for you. Big bonuses, giant jackpots, and rewards keep our guests coming back for more. Visit our Players Club today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, off I-85 exit 22 in Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Okay, here we are back at it, getting close to the top of the hour here on this beautiful Labor Day Monday. Yeah, Barry Lugs looked like he had the good setup there out on the patio, kind of the wooded area up there in North Carolina. I'm sure things so temperatures a little cooler there maybe than they are in our neck of the woods.
It's a beautiful place. I lived a couple, maybe 3 different times in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Charlotte's a beautiful spot. It's probably, it looked anyway, a little calmer in North Carolina than it does in the state of Alabama this morning, John. I am all about it. And the problem with Alabama's loss to FSU was, well, problems, plural, was delineated pretty well by Luganbill. Maybe this was the case last year. I really don't even remember now. But he said, Ty Simpson didn't have an awful lot of help out there on Saturday. And maybe that was the case last year. Certainly, I think it was a couple of times for the last couple of years for Jalen Milroe where he felt he had to do things on his own. But, yeah, I don't think Ty Simpson is shouldering as much of the blame as Jaden Milroe had to shoulder over the last couple of years. Because, John, it was obvious. There wasn't any playmakers out there. He didn't have a lot of help. It wasn't his fault necessarily, right?
And we talked about, and I commented about Ty Simpson earlier today. And there's no doubt he didn't have any help around him. I felt like he was running for his life a lot. Offensive line play not helping him out one bit. And maybe Barry, first game, and you're not getting a lot of help, and that leads to passes that are at the receiver's feet or behind them, or they're having to extend out to get them, just not in the numbers where Alabama fans have seen a lot of those type passes. And there again, maybe that's not fair because we're talking about Tua and Bryce and some of these other quarterbacks. It's hard to compare. But you're right. I mean, I don't think he had the help that he needed to really perform at his best. And maybe that's why I thought he looked rattled and looked unsure of what he was doing. But I go back to what we heard all preseason. Did they not see that?
Is this all
how physical? This was such a physical preseason. If it was, then they should have been getting after each other, and Ty should have had no problem with what he saw in Tallahassee.
I think your point is a very good one. You know, why is everybody surprised if that's the way they really are? But number two, John, what does that tell you about the future? You know, I mean, where if they couldn't perform against a team that were 2-10, that was 2-10 last year, what you've said it before, what has changed since last year? Well, now the question, John, is what's going to change in the future for this team?
Well,
now
let's ask that same question about Florida State. What has changed? Well, 50 new players? I mean, a completely revamped roster, and
new coordinators.
I didn't know what to expect out of Florida State, but I did see some athletes out there. I saw some guys that could play. Now, the first thing I noticed when the game started, Barry, I went, whoa, this Alabama team's a lot bigger looking than this Florida State team. Well, after the first series, it didn't matter because we saw Florida State's athletic ability. And, I go back to Malzahn and the game plan that he came up with, the misdirection, people going everywhere. And you know what probably chaps Alabama fans' ass more than anything? Is the quarterback at Boston College told you all summer, we're going to beat you. Yeah, you guys don't have Nick Saban anymore. He rubbed it in your face and then went out there and proved it on Saturday afternoon.
And you got to wear it. We talked about that a lot at SEC Media Days because Castellanos had made these obscene predictions during ACC Media Days and made them stand up. And that doesn't happen to Alabama. Alabama teaches people lessons, right? They show how to shut somebody up. Well, they couldn't shut him up, and I know that just absolutely just chaps people.
I know we've heard from Bob from Pike Road. Tobias I heard from over the weekend. Looking forward to hearing from Tobias. Also looking forward to hearing from JJ over in Atlanta. Everybody else out there. But, Barry, I'm not too far from Foley. Should I drive over there today and go check on Danny?
Just a wellness check? So Danny, oh, okay. No, you don't got to say anything, but you're good, right? Okay. All right.
I'm just curious. I'm wondering.
Yeah. So many things about it. Yeah. You mentioned this, and I didn't really think about this, but Alabama committed 8 penalties.
Yeah.
3 of which resulted in first downs. A couple of those were big first downs. 8 penalties to 4. Florida State played better. They played more inspired. They played more efficiently. John, they played cleaner. There's no question, they were the better prepared, better coached football team.
But as I said earlier, this just blows my mind. Every game Kalen DeBoer's coached at Alabama, his team has had more penalties than his opponent. You got to be kidding me. Every game? That is undisciplined. And Barry, as the game wore on and we got into the fourth quarter, you could tell Alabama wasn't going to win this game. These players got frustrated, and they let their frustrations out on the field by stupid, cheap penalties at extended drives, personal foul penalties, things of that nature, showing their rear end off out there like they're the baddest guy on the planet. And I know what I've heard people say. Is it NIL? Is it money? Is it they don't care? It's all about me. Well, a lot of other teams out there are paying players too. So you can't blame it on NIL and the guys are making too much money and things of that nature. Alabama's not the only team doing that.
I wonder about that because you remember Nick Saban, he was talking about when he retired. He said, and I don't know that this is all the case or whether it's just emotions, but he said it wasn't necessarily the NIL or the transfer portal. He said when we lost to Michigan, his last game, when we lost to Michigan in the playoff, in the semifinals, and afterwards our guys were throwing their helmets and cussing and sulking and everything, and things that, we don't coach and doesn't have anything to do with success. And, we always stress on handling things the right way. He said, I kind of felt that I had lost them at that point, that today's players were a little bit different, and I didn't necessarily think I was the proper kind of guy to coach players like that. So that was one of the things that Saban said, I don't know how to coach those kinds of players. If they don't believe in what we believe in, when things are not going well, then maybe I'm not the proper coach for that type of player. I thought it was interesting because there was a tweet on, I think it was yesterday morning, and I can't remember who it is, and I should bookmark those tweets because some of them are pretty good, that says the common perception is that if Nick Saban was still the coach, that this team, players, coaches, staff, would be going through a wood chipper all week. And that perception would not be wrong. They would be. There's no question about that. If I'm Kalen DeBoer, I am, gosh, John, isn't this the time to absolutely just put the hammer down on these guys? Wear them out a little bit, chew on them a little bit more than you have been, really kind of get them in line. Because if you're not doing it now, after what has become a trend, defeats on the road against double-digit dogs, then when is the proper time to put them through the wood chipper?
How do you turn that switch on? I mean, Kalen DeBoer should have been doing this last year.
No doubt.
After those humiliating double-digit favorite losses. So I don't think they go out into the Hank Crisp indoor facility today, and he's a totally different guy, kicking and screaming and spitting and cussing. You saw that Saturday. He's standing there like Elijah the Wooden Indian. I mean, guys has no emotion, like he's in shock most of the time. So maybe his assistants do it, but I'm not sure you can turn that switch on right now. They've been through spring, they've been through preseason camp, and the guy just changes his persona and he changes his personality. I think they're over that. I'm not sure that can work right now.
Time has passed. Maybe so.
It's coaching. I mean, but basically it's all about, they've got to get better schemes, better coaching, better people in better positions. Kicking and screaming, I don't think that's going to work.
It's difficult. And again, this is everybody dealing with this, not just Alabama, with the players who are making more, some of them making more than the coaches are. And, you see them doing commercials. I feel badly for some. I shouldn't say that. I'm interested in the dynamic between Jamarcus Shepard. He's the Alabama wide receivers coach, co-offensive coordinator. His relationship with Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams is 18 years old, and he makes more money than his wide receivers coach. Can Jamarcus Shepard and Ryan Williams, for all account, is a great kid. He spent so much of his NIL trying to help his hometown. Always to be. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it or it's a bad relationship. I'm just interested in the relationship. Is Jamarcus Shepard screaming and yelling at Ryan Williams, even though Ryan says, I'm half your age and I'm making more money than you are right now? Why should I listen to you? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got. I think in the back of your mind, it's got to be. I'm sure there's some kids in the back of their mind that are thinking that. What I wonder, Barry, is why is an 18-year-old athlete showing up at an away venue with a stuffed animal? I mean, what's up with that? You think that would have happened with Nick Saban?
Or Bear or any of the, I don't know. We had a guy at Troy on the basketball team that had a stuffed little person. Carried it with him, checked it in his baggage and stuff. Who knows? But that is a little bit different. What?
Yeah, I mean, not my cup of tea.
Is it about time we got to get into this rotation to check on what happened over the weekend with the Phantom.
Oh, well, I didn't think you'd ever ask.
I hate to have to remind you of stuff like that because, the energy on the show has been, it's just difficult. The Phantom
great.
sometimes has, is much too humble to do any horn tooting, but he's always there in case it was a non-winning weekend. The Phantom came on Friday and delivered what I thought were several terrific picks in the Phantom 4 over the weekend. Is it too early to kind of revisit those picks and see how they played out?
We can certainly do that. Look at that. I've got them right here.
Well,
as a matter of fact, now that you
took
asked.
him with him on the road. It's difficult to travel. This is always a difficult period for John because it's a Labor Day weekend. He's on location somewhere vacationing. He brings out the water wings, and don't forget all those totes that have the pool noodles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's always this one briefcase that you got to bring that key to it because it's locked and everything, and y'all don't touch this. And it's handcuffed to his wrist and everything. It just happens to have the results from the Phantom 4 from over the weekend.
Got him right here. And the Phantom pick today as well. That'll be later. So Barry, we came into Friday with our Phantom 4. Coming off a Thursday night college win with Miami of Ohio, catching 18. Only lost by 17.
They didn't even score, and they made the Phantom a winner. They were an 18-point dog. They lose to Wisconsin 17-0. John says, I'll speak for the Phantom. Great job, Ball State, not scoring. Good job. Thanks very much.
Yeah, exactly. So, sure. I mean, it was great. Thank you, Miami of Ohio. Red Hawks or Red Sticks or whatever they are.
Red Hawks.
I'm not even sure.
Yeah, Red Hawks.
Red Hawks, yeah. So we had a little momentum coming into the weekend with that big win. We had a game Friday night, which was Auburn at Baylor. And I know a lot of people out there, Barry, particularly on our chat line, a lot of people emailing us and all that kind of good stuff, liked Baylor in this game. Baylor's a dog. They loved them. I kind of wondered if it was just kind of a I'm never going to bet on Auburn kind of thing. I don't know. But we saw it differently, completely differently. We said Auburn would win this game by a touchdown. They won it by 2. So it was a bonus.
Easy.
That was our last statement. It was easy. SEC versus the Big Ten. I was very impressed with Jackson Arnold. I know we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Saw him run all up and down the field against Alabama last year in Norman. He ran all up and down the field against Baylor on Friday night. I think he's got a big future. Yeah, I mean, Auburn's got to clean up that pass defense, but I'm not too worried about that. Saw a lot of positives out of that team, and they've got a couple of easy games before they get into a couple of tough ones on the road. But Auburn was our winner on Friday.
Right, okay.
And then we go into Saturday, Barry. Yeah, right. And I got to tell you, this was tough to take when we had the Texas Longhorns catching 2.5 on the road. They're inside they're deep in Ohio State territory, knocking on the door multiple times, and they can't punch it in. Now, that's just part of it. We're not using that. We're not, sulking about that, but that was kind of hard to take. I will tell you that. I mean, come on.
Ohio State wins it 14-7 in a physical football game. Yes. Texas is going to be fine, believe me. Whew, that was a good game.
And I was impressed with Ohio State as well. Yep. The next game, so we're 1-1 going into the weekend.
Big props for the best dadgum band in the land, the Ohio State Marching Band, spelling out Corso on the field.
That was great.
I mean, the Corso thing was good and all that. God bless him and all that. Man, they played. How must it have felt? Because ESPN was at midfield. I mean, they were at midfield, not in the middle of the field, but at the 50-yard line down on the Texas side with their stuff and with their setup. And they've got the Ohio State band playing Corso. They had Corso's final pick playing over the speakers. And everybody, we love Corso, this kind of stuff and everything. And then after it's over with and they go to their game, which was Mississippi State at Southern Miss. I flipped over to watch Texas at Ohio State, and there's poor old Urban Meyer and Brady Quinn and those guys. They're in the end zone corner for Fox. It's their game. And they put them over in the corner by the locker rooms, and ain't nobody paying one tiny bit of attention to their big Saturday show over there. Goodness gracious.
I think they probably knew that going in that that was with it being Corso's last game, but I thought it was kind of nice, Barry, that those guys did a headgear pick. The Fox panel guys did, and they all put on a different headgear. Urban Meyer put on the Ohio State. Mark Ingram put on an Alabama helmet. They had all that kind of stuff kind of tipping their cap to Corso there. I guess it'll be interesting to see how that segment of the show does from this point on. I mean, will they just make picks and not have a big fanfare like they did with Corso? That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. As we move on with the fan, I will answer a few questions here. Chris the Bammer, yes, I am in Baldwin County. That is true, Chris. But Preston, I am not in Orange Beach or Gulf Shores. So I'm going to make you think about that one. I'll give you a hint.
Don't be trying to center him up here, because we don't want fans out there in the background cheering and yelling and,
I am not in Gulf Shores. I'm not in Orange Beach, but I am in Baldwin County. And I'm actually, from where I'm located at my broadcast location, I am looking at the state of Florida. That's all the hints I'm going to give you. If you can figure it out, go for it. All right, we'll get back to
here we go.
All right, so Barry,
two of them in.
Bama.
Yep, two of them in. Yeah.
We get into Bama, and I knew this was coming. I can't believe you're going against the Tide. They're 9-0 against the spread in their last 9 games played in week 1. I think that Nick Saban was responsible for the vast majority of those. Florida State's 1-8 against the spread in August. Big deal. So what? Love the 14. I got to admit, Barry, didn't think Florida State was going to win the game outright, but 14 at home? You kidding me? A layup. And
you are not you are not to be blamed for that one.
No. That one was easy.
Just take just don't look a gift to it. Just say, thank you very much. If they're going to give it to you, I mean, why would you not take it?
I mean, people, this is what kills me. Look, I'm cashing a ticket in today on the Tide. And all these other people, I can't bet against Alabama. You're tearing that ticket up. It's that simple. You got to leave your crimson heart off to the side when you're wanting to wager, or just don't bet on Alabama. Just don't even do it. If you can't bet against them, don't do it.
Just
don't do it. All right. So our last one of the week, Barry, of the Phantom 4, they were pretty proud of this one because this is our first of the year. Wrong team favored game. You heard me say it on Friday. As we wrapped up with LSU at Clemson, we said wrong team favored. We're catching 4.5. It was a bonus. LSU wins the game outright.
I feel like I deserve a little bit of credit there because I pointed out that for Clemson, LSU was a look-ahead game,
Yeah.
I thought Clemson would be, they'd be a little bit vanilla, holding things back for LSU so they can spring them on the Troy Trojans this weekend coming up. So let's do the tabulation. Somebody just texted me and says, if John can see Florida, is there still confetti over there in the trees? Are they still partying over there? And here in the state of Alabama, we're all like, they look like they're having fun over there, Yeah.
What is going on?
All right, so what do we got? No What's kidding. The final tally in week 1 of the Phantom 4?
Week 1, Barry, we were 3 out of 4, hit 3 out of 4 games. But there again, 4 out of 5 if you throw in that Miami of Ohio game on Thursday. Just saying.
Which I do, by the way. I will. Because every once in a while, you'll see the Phantom. He'll have the Phantom 4. Phantom's premier picks every week. Every once in a while, there'll be a little bit of a TV opinion, but the Phantom will have a game where he says, I just can't narrow it down. I've got 5 that are just jumping off the page at me, so I'll just go ahead and give them to you. That counts. That counts right there. That Thursday night Miami of Ohio game, that's a counter.
It is a counter. Now, I got to tell you, Barry, I know this you won't find this a shock. I haven't watched a lot of Major League Baseball in the last week, since football's kind of started. So we're not going to Major League Baseball today.
Oh, okay.
with college football.
Our
We're going to take the
Phantom
game tonight
Daily Dog.
with North Carolina and TCU. How about this one?
Okay. All
The
right.
Belichick era starts with the Tar Heels tonight. And they are a home underdog. And I know what Luganbill said. A lot of new faces on that team. You know what, Barry? I saw a team Saturday afternoon that had a lot of new faces on it, too. They look pretty good to me.
They did. They did. This will be ESPN tonight. Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe. It's a big production.
Yeah. What did we talk about when Belichick got hired? Game day is going to be at about 2 of their games.
They're
They'll
there
probably
next week.
broadcast the opening game with the big A team, make it a Monday night kind of deal. Here it is. North Carolina hosting TCU. Sonny Dykes is a good coach. What Luganbill had to say about him, a little worried about that. But getting that 3 and a hook at home, I love that hook on this point spread. So we're taking North Carolina plus the 3.5 at home, taking on the Horned Frogs. Nothing against you, Doug. It's business here, nothing personal. We like UNC plus 3.5 tonight.
Yeah, happy birthday to me. A little present for me today. I like that. From the Phantom. And once again, pleased to be sponsored. Yeti, how long has the Phantom been bringing winners and been keeping that same sponsor every year?
Well, just think about how many years my lawn has looked so good. I mean, it's just phenomenal. All my neighbors are jealous because of the River Region straw that is in my yard. It just makes it pop. It looks fantastic.
Yep.
You can call Kenny today. Give him a call or a text, 669-5959. Kenny and his staff will hook you up. You can go pick it up. They'll deliver it. Heck, they can even spread it for you. River Region straw proudly bringing you the Phantom each and every week with the Phantom 4.
More to come in just a moment.
Yes.
He's John
Loving
Longshore.
the chat line, Barry.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get to. We got a lot of good chats over here I'm looking at. Woo.
Yep. John's also looking at a very happy state of Florida across the street over there. It's been week 1 is just about to
it's
wrap
actually
up.
Across the bay. There's another hint. It's across the bay.
Next week, or later on this week, the Phantom will have another set of picks, and the NFL will be in play this weekend.
Wait.
For the, as a matter of fact, the NFL will be underway by the time the Phantom is back with us on Friday at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Like Luganbill said, we got a game Thursday night. Want to guess who's playing in it?
Yep. As I think John brought this up back during, I think, last February. It'll be the Cowboys. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be the Cowboys. One final thought here. I promise we're going to go to break, but we have this. You want to hear this from John from Wetumpka? Since we just, we'll be at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Yeah.
John from Wetumpka says, "Good morning. My daughter bought a Jeep at Stivers on Friday. Great people. She sure bragged on them." John, I can't say we're surprised, but we are gratified. Love that.
John, we'll be at Stivers in Prattville on Friday. We will let them know that your daughter is extremely satisfied with her purchase of a Jeep vehicle there at Stivers CDJR in Prattville. Thank you for letting us know that. We will let them know too.
When we come back, more from Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level. And the stakes, oh, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
At Dixie Overhead Door, we specialize in top-quality garage door solutions for homes across Alabama and Georgia. In need of a garage door repair or a brand new garage door installation, our expert team delivers fast, reliable service with local expertise that you can trust, providing customized solutions and exceptional care every step of the way. Visit us today at DixieOverheadDoor.com and experience the Dixie difference.
Okay, here we go. Back at it on this beautiful Monday, Labor Day. Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. So glad you're with us here today on the program. Tom Luganbill earlier today. Outstanding. Man, this guy, Luganbill's a busy man.
He is. And he should be. He is so good at what he does. He's smarter than just about everybody else in the room, and he also works harder than they do as well. It's just my first chance. I mean, I was busy this weekend. I had, of course, Troy's 38-20 win over Nichols.
Now, I did read see an account of that, Barry. Troy comes back with a big win, but were they behind in this game?
Yeah, they were behind at halftime, behind in the third quarter, 28 points in the fourth quarter, and the Trojans won it. A slow start. I think a lot of it was, trying to stay vanilla on offense, save a little something for Clemson. But Nichols was pretty sturdy. They, but Troy came back at the very end and won it comfortably. And then, of course, I had Troy women's soccer yesterday on ESPN Plus, a 2-1 win over the Jacksonville University side. So I didn't get a chance to watch. To do what I want, one of the things I really wanted to do on Sunday, I didn't get a chance to do. It's time to, good time to spend time with Dee and everything. I didn't get a chance to check out the TighterInsider.com message board. So I checked it just a second ago, and it's, fire DeBoer. M.A. Bama says DeBoer should have come into that postgame locker room and overturned every table. Maybe he should start some of the players he recruited. Couldn't be any worse. Need to fire Freddie and Womey. What I wanted to do was to, and everybody fire DeBoer. Got to go 5-5 in the last 10 games. Nuff said. I love it when grown people say "nuff said."
Yeah, nuff said.
Well, let me contrast that with what the tone was on the TighterInsider.com message board before the game. And, John, I kept scrolling and scrolling. I went back 45 pages, and it was still, can you believe what you're seeing? I'm thinking, there is so much on the Tighter Insider message board. It may take me a half hour just to scroll back to where it was on Thursday. Because, it must have been 175 pages worth of vitriol and fire and vinegar and,
Barry, you can tell it's a different feeling, a different mojo. It is. It's all about the screaming and gnashing of teeth and the demands to fire Kalen DeBoer. I have not seen one post at Tighter Insider. Can you believe those Aubies roll Toomer's corner? Can you believe it?
Healthiness.
And man, they did a good job. I'm talking about really rolled it. Did they roll it after the Lamo game on Saturday, or what was the significance of rolling it Friday night?
It was the dude wipes. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this. I'm not sure it's sponsored by Dude Wipes. There are probably a few in the trees and everything like that, but I think that's good for Bama fan because, nobody's talking anymore about you playing too much golf or nobody's talking. I heard that he has 3 different coaches that focus on play calls on 3 different downs. Or, he threw his visor at practice at Jackson Arnold. And, they're not focusing on that anymore. They're focusing inwardly.
Well, no, I think they're focusing. The one thing has not changed. They're still focusing on their little neighbors to the west. I mean, the basketball coach is throwing out some blurbs. A former head coach is throwing out some blurbs. I'm thinking, did they do that when Texas loses?
Curtis says this, and this was another point of mine. Since you bring that up, Curtis says, why did FSU storm the field for the first game of the year? Seemed a little off-putting. Somebody said that's 5 straight games, or maybe more. X number of straight games that Alabama has lost that the opponent has stormed the field. Alabama doesn't storm the field. Well, they haven't had a ton of opportunities lately. Well, they stormed the field against us. Beating Bama is still a big deal. It's not as big of a deal as it was, say 2 years ago.
I don't think there's a school out there that's had the field stormed on them as much as Alabama has. Now, certainly
especially lately,
had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
But when is that going to be over with? When are people going to go, so what? Big deal. It's kind of like throwing toilet paper in trees, but I don't think stuff like that's ever going to stop.
To go away.
I got it. I mentioned earlier in the show, Jalen Milroe, and I get it. It's not all Ty Simpson's fault. But as Tobias brings up, Tobias coming strong today. He's got a lot of good points here today. This one at 8:14.
Oh, yeah, he was in early. Tobias says, I know the line is terrible, but Ty Simpson looked pedestrian to me. I saw 0 elite trades. If you're going to lose, might as well do it with Keelan Russell. John?
Tobias, as you can imagine, as the game was going on, I have several little chat groups that I'm in a part of on as we text. And now Barry, that would be something interesting to put on the screen. Some of these texts I got during the game.
If some of those guys knew that they were going to be put on the screen, they wouldn't be texted you.
I don't know. I think they might like to get on the screen now that I think about it. But anyway, I did drop that, Tobias. I said, how about a little Keelan Russell here in this game? Austin Mack. All we've heard is DeBoer and Grubb have got to get a quarterback that fits their style, their philosophy of offense. Is Ty Simpson that guy?
Kalen DeBoer said at the press conference on Monday, he said there's no quarterback room in the country that's getting coached better than our quarterback room. And I never thought about it that way. I think it's a good point from Tobias. Where was the elite stuff? Did he ever show off the big arm whenever he was running for his life and having to throw across his body, trying to find a receiver who didn't have any separation? Was there any of that? Was there any? Where were the elite traits from this former 5-star quarterback?
There again, a lot of the times he's running for his life, but I saw passes that were at the feet of receivers or behind them.
Here's another one. If I'm DeBoer, I'm reviewing the tape and sitting everyone who is loafing. The linebackers look slow. Might as well put in the kids. I'm not saying a lot of loafing. Tom Luganbill said that, that some of those guys, I'm paraphrasing here, weren't playing very hard. John, ain't no excuse for that. I don't care if you're losing 52-0. You're putting on that crimson jersey and all that. I would rather get beat 49-0 than to loaf out there on the football field. And there's got to be some repercussions, right? He's got to address
I've used
that.
this term before, and I remember your reaction to it was almost kind of like, wow, that's a little harsh. I don't know if I would, that's something you never want to describe a football team and use this word, soft. I saw a soft football team Saturday afternoon in Tallahassee. I didn't see a team that was physical. I didn't see a team that, was dominant. Lethargic is what I saw out of this Alabama team. They just got whipped. And I've mentioned the penalties. Penalties to me is a lack of discipline. This team is that was an issue with Saban in the latter part of his time in Alabama. There were games that they would get penalized more than you had seen before. Can't tackle. I don't know how you describe it any other way, but they are a soft football team.
That was also a theme from what I garnered in my quick, not extensive scan through the TigerInsider.com message board. And if you're Stanford, you can get by with that. Some of those run and shoot teams like the old Houston teams or some of those, the BYU teams that would throw it, 60 times a game, you can get by with that. But I'm telling you, Alabama fans cannot abide that. They cannot. Alabama fans can excuse, a ball tight roping down the sidelines or a 1 in a million play, at the very end. They can. They find it hard. They don't like it. But, man, you see a team that is soft, that isn't more physical and more clean, they can't stand it. They cannot. I mean, they will overreact to that and call for the coach's head or call for a coordinator's head or something. They cannot deal with soft football. Yeah, wow.
No, and I don't know if DeBoer and this staff need to go back and look at some game film of some of Saban's greatest teams, but those guys were headhunters. They were out there to knock you into next week. I hadn't seen that in any game Alabama's played under DeBoer. We're out here, we're going to hit you. We're going to make you quit. I'm not sure Alabama quit, Barry. I just think they're soft.
Yeah, I don't think they quit. No.
I don't know how you can quit when you're, there again after that first series. I'm kind of thinking, well, what happened here? Did they just think they were too good and they, that they were buying into what some of these experts were saying about them in preseason camp? This team looks great in every aspect. I'm a little worried about the kicking game, but everything else is great. And one other guy said, this is the national champion. The Tide's my pick. And another well-known guy, Bama's one of these teams that's going to vie for the national championship. And these people bought it, hook, line, and sinker.
And how's it? And now what's going to change? Two things about it. I think I speak for John with this. When he says this team looks soft, it's not just, hitting the ball carrier, executing the block. I speak for John. We're talking about mentally soft as well, John. You get down in that game. You got off to the hot start. You go right down the field, scoring your first drive. Then FSU comes right back, and you start thinking like you're not a winner anymore. You start being mentally soft. Man, that one wasn't my fault. You start whining, you start pointing fingers, you start complaining. That's not the physicality of the game. That's the mental softness that I believe has crept in over there. Man, fourth quarter, golly, this just ain't our game. Man, we're down 14. Oh, man, that ain't my fault. That's your fault. Or, that's mental softness.
Then frustration kicks in. You go through that.
Which is
you're
mental
not physical.
softness.
Yeah, and then you start cheap shotting. And FSU is scoring points as a result of stupid penalties because you're frustrated, you're getting beat, you're thinking a little chip shot here, a little, hit here, and they're moving the chains. And they're keeping, you're going from 3rd and 10 to 1st and 10. And, the play, it's about to be 4th down, but you made some stupid play because you thought you were Joe Badass out there, and it cost your team. And, then they go over the sidelines, and they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear the coaches giving them an earful.
And the coaches aren't giving them as much of an earful as the coaches should be giving them. Snatch a helmet. Slap somebody on the rear end, like we've seen before. I think John's valid. One quick thing here before we go to break. One more from Tobias. John's talking about the penalties. In every game he's coached, Alabama has been more penalized than the opposition. They had 8 penalties, not a ton. FSU only had 4. But Tobias says 2 FSU drives were the result of Bama penalties, which kept FSU on the field. It's not necessarily just the sheer number, John, which you can't have. It's that, man, some of them always seem to come at just the worst possible time. So,
Horrible. Yeah,
good stuff,
exactly.
Tobias.
They keep keeping drives alive that result in points. That's you're not going to win that way.
Well, let's take a break. Still to come, it's our Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel. John is live in an undisclosed location. I am at my home studio in Troy. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Barry, here's another thing that I noticed at the game. Our man Greg brings it up on our chat line.
Yeah.
This Crimson Crane business, that's so yesterday. And when you're getting beat and you do it,
yeah,
I mean, come on.
Bad look.
I mean, how stupid is that? And I'm wondering, do these coaches not get in a film room and say, son, let me tell you, that's over.
Yeah.
No more of that. And if you don't like it, then transfer. I mean, there again, if they're afraid to discipline these players and they're afraid they're going to transfer, they don't need them anyway. Get rid of them.
That was a bad look.
All this stuff about, well, not one player left after spring practice. Looks like some needed to.
Well, that's got to change, because again, that speaks. John brought this up before. That speaks to the me mentality of it all. You know, I'm getting mine. You know, give me some credit. Well, your team's getting beat by 2 touchdowns, but if you want to celebrate your accomplishment, hey, you know, you can go do that at Indiana State or someplace.
Yeah.
You know? So.
I mean, is there, and I see it all over the place. I'm tired of defensive backs making a play, acting like they just changed the entire outcome of the game. Yeah. I mean, just do what you're coached to do and go back to the huddle.
Play the next play.
After the play crap and shenanigans I'm thinking, give me a break. But they see it all over TV, and, you know, it's just the day and age in which we live in, I guess.
After the game, Kalen DeBoer, it's the first time, and yeah, Auburn fans are celebrating a big win. They're celebrating that they got a better record than Alabama. It's the first time Alabama's lost an opening game of the season. They have been 1-0 for 24 straight years.
Excuse me.
Until this year. DeBoer says, quote, I choose to believe we've got a good football team, but we can't play on our heels. There's no excuse about what happened. I agree there. And I do think, gosh, they can't not have a good football team. out of all of the problems that they had on Saturday in the defeat, talent ain't one of them. They've got the talent to do anything they want. I still believe that. I got no reason for why Caden Proctor played as badly as he did. But they've got the talent to do whatever they want. Something's missing, John. Something is missing, and it's not talent. They were more talented than Vanderbilt. They were more talented than Michigan and Oklahoma, and more talented than Florida State. But it didn't matter. Something's missing. And I can't.
Well,
I can't
it is
even say
missing.
what the changes need to be.
I think the biggest thing is the next 2 weeks. Well, actually the next 3. Got Lamo this week. I know what you're going to ask me. How many empty seats will there be? I'll probably have a prediction on that later in the week. 6:45 kick, I believe.
That is correct. On the SEC network.
So I can promise you, win or lose, by midway in the third quarter, there'll be a lot of empty seats. The opponent and the kickoff time.
Yeah,
Then
John will have to have anecdotal evidence on that. John will have to have somebody tell him, or he'll have to watch on TV how many empty seats, because John will not be on the scene counting the empty seats himself.
No way. No way. Then they got Wisconsin, who didn't look great. They did shut out Miami of Ohio, just not by enough. But, okay, whatever. Right. Wisconsin. Then they got an off week. Then they got Georgia. That's what everybody's focused. Now, if they lay an egg in one or both of their next 2 games, all bets are off. But
hey, they've laid an egg against Lamo before.
Yeah, they should be able to beat them. It might be ugly, but they should be able to beat them. And then they got to go to Athens. If they go to Athens and there's no improvement, they get beat badly, it's over. And a lot of Bama fans think it's over now.
Yeah, they're emailing Greg Byrne right now.
Yeah, and so what about a bowl game? Who cares? Don't matter. The whole spill. But that's where you're going to know is if they go and they are embarrassed in Athens. I'm basing that on they should be able to get through over the next 2. You know what you hear, Barry. You make the most improvement from game 1 to game 2. Well, they're going to have to make a lot of improvement here, but their opponent, luckily enough for the Tide, they should be able to handle the La Monroe. Is that the Warhawks?
There you go. See?
Well,
yeah.
Huh.
The Warhawks.
The Warhawks. But yeah, you've heard my spill. I mean, there again, I hate to just keep harping back to this. What has changed in 9 months? Nothing. Not one thing. A lot of people were fooled and thought that there had been some big changes, but Tinkerbell didn't fly over there with her magic wand and put fairy dust all over the place and make this team different from where they were last January in Tampa or Jacksonville or
Orlando,
wherever they were.
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? Tobias is over here dropping some truth bombs over here.
Yeah, you better believe it.
Hang on. He says this. He says, if you need the coach to motivate you for week 1 and Tommy Castellanos talking crap all season, I don't want you here. Yeah.
Barry, has there ever been a player, not only a player that's going to go against Alabama, but I'm trying to think of maybe Deion back in his day, I don't know, that basically called out his opponent in the summer and then was able to back it up?
The only one I'm thinking of, and I'm not sure of the timing, is Johnny Manziel. He would be, to me, the most likely. But Manziel was asked about that. Again, as I mentioned on CBSSports.com, they were talking to him because, he engineered a defeat over Alabama when they were a double-digit underdog, beating Saban, which was not easy to do. Manziel says, ain't nobody scared of Alabama anymore. The Crimson Tide is 6-4 against unranked teams under Kalen DeBoer. 6-4. Manziel said on a program called Nightcap after Saturday's game, quote, in the past, you walk in to face an Alabama team, you probably got a little fear. This is Bama, the team that's been a dynasty. You got a little fear. That fear aspect of what Alabama is completely gone. Ain't nobody scared of them boys. Not Vandy, not Kentucky, not nobody. Nobody's walking and seeing Alabama on the schedule and having any kind of a shake, any kind of fear, nothing. They've been getting wiped the last couple of years. Is that true?
Well,
do you see that?
I think so. I don't think there is the fear factor anymore. I do. I think teams, walked into Bryant Denny or they went on the road and, people looked at them and went, wow. But what they see on TV and what they've seen in the last year, what would strike fear into a team? They're, again, soft, lethargic, not disciplined, not very physical, can't tackle. That doesn't fear me.
You know.
Doesn't fear me.
I mean, when you're playing Saban, heck, when you were playing Bryant and he's leaning up against the goalpost, you're the opposition. You come in there and you see Saban across the way and you're like, whew, and you see, Reuben Foster and Rolando McClain and, Minka Fitzpatrick and some of those D linemen, Terrence Cody and all that. And you're thinking, boys, we're fixing to get hit today. You look across now, if you're Mike Norvell or if you're Sharon Moore or if you're Clark Lee, you look across there and you see DeBoer, arms folded across his chest. Is there a chill going down your spine at all?
No.
I don't think so.
Nope.
Well, let's take a break. When we come back, it's Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 Topic Wheel. It's coming up with Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Prideville Carpet is the most trusted name in flooring in the River region. Ray Bowles and his staff have an exclusive take two in 3, 2.
Got
Hey, I like this. This is good.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Riverbank and Trust.
Summer's here, and so too are its many challenges. Heat that won't quit, beers that won't fit, hammocks that won't hammock, screen doors that appear out of nowhere, flips that flop a little too much. That's why it's important to keep it simple. Keep it cool, keep them coming, and keep it easy. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light.
At Dixie Overhead Door, we specialize in top-quality garage door solutions for homes across Alabama and Georgia. In need of a garage door repair or a brand new garage door installation, our expert team delivers fast, reliable service with local expertise that you can trust, providing customized solutions and exceptional care every step of the way. Visit us today at DixieOverheadDoor.com and experience the Dixie difference.
There we go.
About 12 minutes until the top of the hour on this Labor Day Monday here, post week 1. Do have one game left. North Carolina hosting TCU later tonight on ABC. Is it ABC or ESPN?
It'll be ESPN tonight.
ESPN.
Yeah,
Yes.
it'll be ESPN tonight. Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, and all those guys.
Yep.
The opening from Belichick, and it's one of those guys. I mean, North Carolina could lose by 28, wouldn't necessarily surprise me. They could win by 28.
don't
Be
need
like,
that to
well,
happen.
there's Belichick, something like that. Yeah,
I need them to
It is
lose,
not.
say, 24-21. That'd be okay. They could lose.
Oh yeah,
but
had to be something like that
24-21 is kind of what I'd like to
for
see.
sure. Yeah, Yeah. Just if you're asking, that's what John would like to see. There you go. So
I mean, no, don't get me wrong, Barry. I mean, it'd be okay if North Carolina won the game. I mean, just don't lose it by more than 3.
That'd be, is that too much to ask? I don't think
Not
so.
really.
I don't think
so either.
Yeah. This upcoming week, I don't know that the positive vibes will be there. It's not the best week. I mean, Troy will go to Clemson. I'm all about that. Love that.
When's the kickoff time for that game?
2:30 Central Time, and it'll be on the ACC network. 2:30 Central Time from Death Valley. It'll be our third trip to Clemson. I had our rental car towed there my first year. Alabama's at home against Alabama and Auburn play basically at the same time on Saturday, both of them at home. Auburn at home against Ball State, 6:30 on ESPNU. Alabama at home against ULM.
Yep.
That'll be 6:45 on the SEC network. Same time. You can either flip back and forth or you can just forget both of them and watch something else, which a lot of people probably will.
Well, Bear, we got. I think this could be interesting. And this is the 2:30 ABC game, if I'm not mistaken, is Kentucky and Ole Miss. This game's in Lexington. Kentucky came to Ole Miss last year and beat the Rebels. I'm not sure Kentucky's that great. I
don't think they are at
Toledo
all.
Or somebody this past weekend, but that probably is the best game on the board. Obviously, 2 SEC teams. Mississippi State hosting Arizona State on Saturday. And how about this one? Oklahoma with a little non-con hosting that pesky Michigan Wolverine team that has given Alabama fits the last 2 times they faced off.
That's where College Game Day is going to be. Is in Norman. They're going to have that. It was the most watched College Game Day ever last Saturday, and I get that. And I God bless Lee Corso. We kidded around a little bit. He was a little discourteous to me on the show one time, which was kind of funny. But he didn't get a chance to talk a whole lot of ball, that's for sure. It was all about Corso, which was, first week of the season, so many great games. And you've got, Corso eating a cake in the shape of a Buckeye. That was a little bit much, but it was okay. Now he's gone. And I'm with John. Are they going to make Pat McAfee do something else stupid to pick up a game?
I hope not.
He already does a lot stupid. So
I can't figure that play out, Barry. I just maybe we're
David
getting old.
Pollock was so great.
Demographic.
Yeah,
he was.
Okay,
Barry. Before we get to Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 topic, Will.
Yeah.
We are an hour and 52 minutes into the show today, the live broadcast. And of course, you can watch it at your convenience anytime at yellowhammernews.com on their Facebook page, our Facebook page, YouTube. We're on Instagram, X, Spotify, Apple Tunes. So there's so many ways to check us out. If you're driving home from the beach or the lake or the mountains, hey, check us out. Listen to us on the drive home today as we recap week 1. But Barry, an hour and now 53 minutes into the live broadcast, do we need to check on Robbie? I've yet to see a chat from Robbie today. I'm a little concerned.
I don't know. I mean, it is a holiday. I'm not sure he has a job anyway. He probably does, but he's probably sleeping late. Or maybe he's one. You were talking about Danny from Foley earlier. Robbie's one. If any you guys know Robbie, can you just drive by, knock on his door? Hey, Robbie, you good? I'd like to know.
Everybody good? I don't know what time. I know that Miami Notre Dame game was late last night. Maybe Robbie stayed up for the entire game. I don't know, but
I stayed up to the end of the third quarter.
Robbie.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah. Fair point.
I'm a little concerned about my man Robbie. All right.
We got 5 to get here on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel, brought to you by Victoryland 777 Casino, exit 22, I-85, Shorter, Alabama, where you can be a winner too. John and I haven't seen the topics, don't know. This is another one.
Another one?
Oh, I don't like this kid. Don't you hate that when you're out on the course and you got this one little kid weighs about $120, and he's striping every ball, and you think, I hate this kid. Yeah, this is in Ponte Vedra.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been actually to
TPC Sawgrass.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of because I played this golf course before, actually twice, and let's see, one goes out, two is a par 5 coming back toward the club. Yeah, okay, 3 shortish par 3, but the kids made 2 hole-in-ones in 9 months. Wait a minute, what's up with that?
I hate that.
I made one in my entire life. I've been playing since I was 8 years old. Sheesh.
Hey, you want to find out? You want to get somebody talkative? Get that. John can tell you the date, the time, where it was, what club he hit, a whole deal about it. Yeah. So
and I can tell you the total of the bar tab, because if you make a hole-in-one, Bear, you got to buy everybody in your group cocktails when the round is over. They were ordering the premium stuff. Don't be fooled.
They ain't ordering, Black Flag or whatever you talk about or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to it. That's one in. All right. Charlie Woods. Kid was born.
Charlie Woods.
With a silver spoon in his mouth. All right. Solution.
Huh, what could this be?
Oh, yeah, Dak. Dak is glad the solution was reached with the Micah Parsons trade. Why is he? He said just with the way the negotiations went down, obviously, to some extent. I mean, y'all were asking me questions. It seemed like it got personal on their end. You don't want it to be personal. He says, I'm not going to say we're better because you're not. We got to go on there and prove it. We had to prove it if he was on this team. So I'm not going to say that by any means. Dak was already way overpaid. Micah Parsons would have been the one that he would have been worth that money. And I like Dak. I think he's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. But to say, I'm glad that it ended up the way it did. That's to say, hey, I'm glad we're not a better team. That means more focus will be, all that focus on Micah Parsons. That's less focus on me. How am I going to sell sleep number beds and stuff if there ain't no focus on me? That rang kind of false to me.
I'm with you. We'll see Thursday night. Okay, let's see what we got.
John
3
said
more to go.
Thursday night. It was Thursday. It's going to be Thursday night. All right, here we go.
Victoryland 777 topic wheel, and it is stopped on
Alabama linebackers. That's got to be what. No, I'm sorry.
Gotta be.
Oh, yep. Look, that kid, that guy. Who was that? That was Sinner. No, and the other guy grabbed it and took it from him. Polish millionaire CEO. Sinner was signing, was it Jonik Sinner signing it for the kid?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a special place in Hades.
Man.
For somebody who does that. He says, no. Yeah. The kid's like, he was signing it for me. That's wrong. Wow. That is wrong.
Come on, buddy.
Yeah.
No
that's
kidding.
Let's go back to it.
Real quick, Ty, Joe Test did look like somebody from Saturday Night Live Fever.
No
what was
kidding.
that outfit? What was his outfit?
Dee said something. My wife said something about that. All he needed, he had the little chain. He had the open shirt. He had the leisure suit looking thing. I'm thinking, goodness gracious. All he needed was elevator shoes, and he could have been in the background of the dance scene of Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah, doesn't he? Really, doesn't he? Yeah, doesn't he do WWE or something now? Maybe
he does. John and I have seen him many times at SEC Media Days. First time I saw him, I'm thinking, holy smokes! Not that there's anything wrong with it, but he's not 5'5".
Yeah.
Jeez. All right. So there we go. Yeah. Good one,
2 more to go.
Good one.
Let's get them in before the top of the hour. Victoryland exit 22 I-85 in Shorter, Alabama. This
is Brad in the scene with Phoebe. Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Doesn't anybody knock anymore?
This was last night. I saw this. CJ
awesome.
Daniels. Terrible decision for Carson Beck. Throwing into double coverage and throwing a bad ball anyway. CJ Daniels makes a terrific catch between 2 defenders, and Carson Beck says, that's what I meant. Yeah, he's saved.
2 defenders. Look at this, though, Bear. If the ball's tipped, there's 4 of them in the picture.
Yeah, they can take their pick.
That ball gets tipped. Yeah, somebody's catching that one, but boy, what a one-handed grab. What did you think about Carson Beck last night?
Hey, you can tell he's experienced. He didn't have a good year last year. You can tell he's experienced, but he still makes too many back foot throws. And I thought McElroy was right. He'll throw a few up for you if you're the defense. He'll make a couple of bad decisions and give you a chance with it, no question.
Who did you say you were glad was right?
Oh, McElroy. Yeah.
Well, glad to see he's right about something.
Yeah. Because he spent an entire offseason, according to John, being wrong.
Yeah.
One more. Let's see if we can get this one.
Going back to coaching, and this Alabama team looks great. Only concerns the kicking game. Okay. All right. Let's move on.
All right. Blind squirrel,
topic
acorn.
on
Here
the
we go.
Victoryland 777 topic, Will.
Scoreboard. Brad Hamilton. If you guys don't get the reference, ask your friends. Oh, yeah. This guy, metal scoreboard. Taylor Ward. Watch what you're. Oh. I mean, that is a metal scoreboard. He had to get carted off.
Oh, man.
And he's waving for the athletic trainers himself. This is solid metal. What do you do?
Oh, wow. See, Barry, if he'd have just been a little bit further to the right, he'd have caught that padding. He'd have been in a lot better shape.
Oh, concussion. Big time concussion. Bless his heart. There you go. That's our Victoryland 777 Gurn Jr. topic wheel, brought to you by Victoryland 777 Casinos, exit 22 off I-85 in Shorter, Alabama. I knew the energy would be off the charts on the show today, John. Appreciate everybody joining in and adding some on an impressive day.
Barry, I was thinking about this, though, before we get out of here. The years and years and years we've been doing this, Mondays were kind of the feeling out day. Tuesday, people were coming hard. So I'm expecting that tomorrow. You've kind of gotten to hear what everybody's talked about, what everybody's saying. I'm expecting the chat line to be blowing up tomorrow.
Everybody up early, getting ready for work tomorrow. Maybe you had the day off. Not us, and not Tom Luganbill, who joined us from ESPN early. Not Gurn Jr., our producer. For John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.